There's something bittersweet about seeing that CLS logo during the splash screen alongside Lilimo Games. Twinbreaker, A Sacred Symbols Adventure, is a collaborative brick breaker project that shows its passion through its fleshed out story, fun core mechanics, and a plethora of game modes that'll keep you coming back for more. For starters, I think it's worth mentioning that I am not an avid brick breaker player. I've never played Arkanoid, which is the game that clearly inspired this, and the best experience I have with brick breakers is playing Blaster Ball 2 on my shitty Windows Vista laptop from 2006. Yeah, brownie points if you remember that one. Anyways, that did not stop me from enjoying the game any bit. If you're even slightly familiar with how these games work, then you can expect the same from Twinbreaker. The one unique aspect of Twinbreaker is through its dual and quad paddle levels, which we'll touch more on that later. But first off, let's talk about the story. I won't delve much into the story since I want to avoid spoiling it for those who are looking forward towards Colin's first piece of fiction, but the basic synopsis is this. Colin and Chris are sent on a journey to discover the whereabouts of Generation Ship 1, who has mysteriously disappeared and has left nothing other than encrypted messages. The story itself focuses a lot on space travel, isolationism, and global conflict. And I must admit that it was actually kind of jarring having such an in-depth narrative in an arcade game, but it is such a well-crafted world, and it actually has me excited for Colin's future projects. The man sure knows how to write. The story itself is progressed through text-based cutscenes approximately every 10 levels or so it serves as a nice breather between the chaos and the cool boss battles. As a matter of fact, speaking of boss battles, the core game consists of 40 levels, 6 game modes, and a new game plus. Each set of 10 levels includes a new mechanic and ends with a boss battle. For example, levels 1 through 10 are dual paddles on a single vertical plane. Then, levels 11 through 20 are dual paddles on opposite ends of a horizontal plane. 21 through 30 are quad paddles, and 31 through 40 are a mix of everything in between. The boss battles are actually really fun, and something that I never expected to see in a game like this. This is actually one of my favorite things about this game. It's so simple, but it's so intuitive and so fun. I literally can't get enough of it. Furthermore, there are 12 power-ups and 2 enemy hazards that players will be exposed to throughout the game. On top of that, once you complete the story, you can always jump back into the fun either through New Game Plus or through the plethora of game modes it offers. My personal favorite is the Boss Rush mode. Aside from that though, the other game modes include Marathon mode, which has you go through endless levels for as long as you can endure, Pong mode, which has you set up against a boss in a typical Pong match, Random mode, which is self-explanatory, Shooter mode, where you equip with your guns and shoot at the in-game enemies, and Catcher mode, where you're tasked with collecting as many coins as you can. At the end of the day, whether you're a hardcore arcade fanatic who strives for achieving high scores in S ranks, or a casual player who's looking for something lighthearted to take the edge off, there's something Twinbreaker has for you. Alright, time for the not so fun part. So let me preface this by saying that I absolutely enjoyed Twinbreaker. So much so that I pre-ordered the physical copy just like many of you already have. However, there are a few pieces of feedback that I believe are worth mentioning. Number 1 is the music. The soundtrack is fucking awesome, dude. And with there being so much variety throughout the entire game, I wish that variety extended into the music selection as well. I'm pretty sure I heard all of the tracks about 3 or 4 times by the end of my first playthrough. Another thing that I want to mention is the quad paddle levels. I actually found these levels to be more frustrating than enjoyable, especially when you try to go for S ranks. Now, I will admit, I'm not completely sure if I'm simply trash when it comes to multitasking or something, but all I can say is that they were a fucking challenge for me, man, both on the PS4 and Vita version of the game. I'm not sure if it was intended for these levels to require about 30 plus retries for S rank, but that's how long it took me. And as a matter of fact, the only times I was able to actually get S rank on some of these levels is because I got blessed with RNG and got some nice power-ups, like you see right here. Lastly, I wish you could choose the direction of the ball during the initial serve. It could really help alleviate those annoying moments when you have that one straggling brick that you're having trouble hitting. Although you can move the direction of the paddle during the serve, the ball itself will either launch straight, slightly to the left, or slightly to the right, and you have no way of controlling it. At the end of the day, Twin Breaker is an amazing package, especially at its asking price of $9.99, which is also cross-buy, by the way. So, with all that being said, man, congrats to Barry, Colin, Chris, everyone else who pitched into this amazing, wonderful game. I cannot wait for this to launch. I cannot wait for the fans of Sacred Symbols, fans of arcade games, and maybe just random people who happen to see this during the drop on the PlayStation blog to experience this awesome game. Not only will launch day unleash the magic and wonder that is Sacred Symbols to all PS4 owners across the globe, but it will also reveal, ultimately, whether I am indeed trash at those quad paddle levels. Take care, everyone.